Jacqueline, how are you today?
Hello, Lilu. I am great. And you?
Very, very good. I'm totally fully aligned. I just did the diamond alignment experience.
Oh, good for you. That was a great thing to do before.
Yes, and I actually I'm excited to introduce you to everybody online because I've been using your technology actually for the past 20, 30 days, and it's been wonderful experience. I would love, that we talk here in this conversation on what it is exactly, how it works, how it came about. It's been I cannot quite define it myself, so it's great that you are here as the founder, as the creator. I know that you're not originally from the internet, that this technology brought you online, that you have created this 6 minute experience that to me really aligned you. And you called it diamond alignment. What is that experience like? I mean, how did this all came about?
Well, Lilu, it came about when I was 38 years old, on top of the world, had, four beautiful children, a multi-million dollar business. I was a pillar of the community, a great leader. And one day, out of the blue, I dropped to the kitchen floor unconscious
Really?
for about 2 minutes. And when I came back, all I can tell you is that I was different. I was really different. And what was happening in my life is I was very, in all of my worldly success. And I was a religious person back then, too. I was brought up Catholic, so I was a religious person. But what had happened to me is I had really, my life was so external. I was living my life for everybody and
Mm.
everything outside of myself, and I wasn't connected. I had lost my connection to my inner self. And so what happened is that I really had to turn inside. And luckily, I went to a doctor. I was really afraid. I thought I might have a brain tumor or
Mm.
cancer or something. I had never heard of such a thing. And everybody around me was very afraid too because I was such the strong person, before.
Mm.
And I was strong afterwards. But what happened is that I really got called to come inside and to really connect with that deep, deep part of me that really has a purpose and mission on this planet.
Mm.
And I began walks in the hills to really help, because what happened is that every time when I came back to, I started to have really strong anxiety attacks. And if
Mm.
anybody's ever had an anxiety attack, that is a very scary thing. It's where you totally lose control
Mm.
of your mental and emotional being for just a few minutes. It's really scary. And every time I would go back to being Jackie Superwoman, very externally living, I would have an anxiety attack. And so I went to the doctors and everything to see if something was wrong with me, because no one talked about anxiety attacks back then. This was in 1987. And the doctor, checking everything out in me, found there was nothing wrong physically or mentally or emotionally. He just said, you need to spend time alone. And back then, I had no idea what that meant. I
Yeah.
just never did tune in on the inner levels. And so I began a very long journey, and it began in the forest. I used to walk up in the hills behind my home and really call for divine help with what was going on. My life was getting unraveled, and I ended up in a divorce because my now ex-husband, was not very happy about the fact that I had to change and I had to go more internal for a little while.
I bet that's
So,
disturbing to our usual current surroundings. Yeah.
yes, and I mean, I was the pillar for everybody. So when I wasn't no longer the pillar and had to tune into myself, it was disturbing
Mm.
for everybody. So I really was calling for divine help, because with four children, we had four children
Wow.
under 10 years old. I really needed what I call divine intervention to deal with the transformation I was going through. And that's where diamond alignment began. I would lie upon this oak tree after calling for the divine help, and I would sort of go out, not exactly a nap, but into a space of very, like a blissful space.
Mm.
It's hard to describe, but it's the same place that you're taken to in the 6 minute experience. It's this deep, connected space to your spirit and to source energy,
So
to
tho-
the divine
that's
energy.
so that we understand this correctly. You called the divine, and this experience happened to you. You didn't provoke it. It just happened.
I did nothing except call for the help and then
Ready
open
to
to receive it.
receive. Yeah.
That's all that
Exactly.
I did. And after about, I was in a lot of remote pain when I would go up to that hill because of all the difficulty I was going through in my life. But after 15 minutes, and it was 15 minutes almost to the moment, this happened every single day for me for 9 solid years. I would come back and I would be completely, totally free of all pain. I would be filled with joy. I would feel very connected inside, and I would be filled with new strength
So
to go down and face.
were you conscious actually of what was happening? Were you conscious of time, reality, and everything during those 15 minutes, or were you transported somewhere else? Were you pure
No,
joy
I
and
call it,
love, or what was happening?
well, in my mind, I did not know what was happening at the time. You know how sometimes you're in an experience and then you don't really know until after you look back what was really happening? What was happening for me is I was taking a journey, what I call my stellar journey, to my home, to
Mm.
my star, it felt like, where I was regenerated and given new strength to face my human life. And it really, it was just this incredible feeling of being connected and not feeling alone, even though my physical world was really unraveling and falling apart and my foundation was really shifting. I was gaining a new strength that I had never tapped into before, not with all the religious, going to
So
church and all of that.
your life started changing from that point on right away, or is it through those 9 years? Because you said 9 years is a pretty long time.
Yes, I was really emptied, Lilu, and it's because I was really moving into birthing this technology without realizing it back then. I had to be emptied over many years, and it was gradual, but it was over many years emptying all the old conditioning and the old programming and the old societal beliefs. You see, I was doing everything that society said you needed to do to be successful. But the problem was I wasn't connected inside. And the other issue is that I had a higher purpose and I really needed to move into that. So I had to be emptied. And then I really called further for divine help when I realized I could go into this aligned state, but I couldn't hold it in the fire of my life. And that's when my deeper call began to be, I want to live in this state. I want to live in this aligned state and have it be the exception to the rule if I fall out
Mm.
and know how to come back.
Mm.
And this is where the technology really started to be birthed in me. I really was answered.
So you
And now,
wanted something, clearly you wanted something that was available to everyone. So you were
well,
experiencing this thing on your own, and then you said, I want other people around me to experience it. So how did you go from experiencing it yourself next to the oak tree to now having this experience available to millions? I mean, how do you go from one world to the next? There's a huge step.
yes, there was a lot of huge steps there, Lilu. Um, First of all, I really didn't know that it was something that would be shared with millions of people, but my pain did tap me into the pain of the collective, of all humanity. So my call for divine help became much larger than just for myself and my children. It really was for the pain of mankind. And when the technology came, what happened is I had an appearance of an exquisitely, profoundly beautiful, loving presence. And I'm not psychic, so it wasn't, like I'm a psychic person and I see things. It
Mm-hmm.
wasn't like that. It was really a mystical experience where I was um, given the presence of a being, a very feminine, gorgeous presence that began to teach me as I sat in meditation every day, teach me how to build this, what turns out to be this diamond chamber that you now see on the internet, which was an energy chamber built over many years that really gave me the power to stay in alignment throughout my day, no matter what was happening and through all the difficulty. It wasn't, and my whole life began to change, and my children's lives began to change, and my ex-husband and I became, really
So this
healed from the.
chamber, so this, excuse me to interrupt you. I know it's very exciting. I'm
Yes,
thrilled about
feel.
all this. So are you saying that this diamond chamber needed to give birth here on this earth, and that you were the recipient of it? Are you saying that it already existed on some new other dimensions or levels, and you were the recipient of that to put that in place? Is that is that accurate, or is it just, or you co-created it as as you started talking to this loving human being?
Well, I'm not sure how it happened. I'm not sure that it existed in another dimension and then was coming through to me. You know, one of the reasons why spirit uses me is because I'm very open and
Yes.
sensitive and not knowing. See, when I think when we get through our mind, through our conscious mind, think we know, then we kind of limit what is the unlimited possibility. So all I know is I really didn't speak. This was a spirit being, and I really didn't speak much. I was listening.
So it
I
was
was really
little,
just
but so it was little by little. You listened
listening.
and you received to the degree that you were able to receive, and you had this open mind for receiving and allowing, and you didn't know anything about this, so you were really just like kind of clueless. Okay,
Yes.
you know, guide me.
Yes, I was innocent. And what I really believe was true is that my higher being knew exactly what was going on. It was my personality self that had to stay open and to stay
Yeah.
in the unknown and to really trust this greater thing that was happening that was revolutionizing my life magically.
So,
Because I wasn't trying. This was
yeah.
the first time in my life that I wasn't trying to make everything
Yeah.
happen because I was the superwoman. I was
Yeah.
trying to make everything happen. Here it was exactly the opposite of trying to control something. It
Yeah.
was really allowing something much greater to happen through me. And I did not even realize it was for other people until 1997, which is 10 years later, is when I was told this gift is not just for you. It is for the world, and you need to bring it out. And so it became a journey of many years now. What are we, 2009? So 12 years of really listening again, step by step, how to bring something invisible that was a very intimate and wordless experience. I never mentioned this to anybody outside of myself, not my
Ah.
boyfriend that I was living with at the time, not my children, not my best friends. It was between me and source, me and my
Wow.
higher self. So in 1997 is when I had to start experimenting and speaking out loud what was happening and telling people what was going on with the energy, just a very small group of people that I really trusted, so that it would be held really sacred, you
Well,
know.
that's
And
your journey is very very interesting, and I can feel and sense for some reasons that there might be a book behind that later on for you to explain to people, because this is truly something that you lived, and a lot of person want to learn. How did you, were you a vehicle? Because a lot of us want that, and that's huge, that let go and the different steps and process that took you to give birth to this amazing divine technology. I mean,
yeah,
I think a lot of us want that. So, as you said, being relaxed, being open, all those are important things.
yes, trusting this amazing intelligence. You know, we're in this powerful transition on the planet. I was just a forerunner. It happened to me very early, but I really believe, and the reason diamond alignment, why I'm so passionate about it, is because I believe there are millions of star beings out there who have come to this planet to really support the transition. But what happens is when people are very sensitive, like you are and I am, and I'm sure your listeners are, is that we're very sensitive and we are influenced by the world in a way that maybe other people wouldn't be. And we can lose our connection temporarily. I think it's only temporarily until it's time to really wake up and do what we came here to do and really connect with each other. And Diamond Alignment is really about that. It is now a worldwide grid. I traveled many years over all parts of the globe, really building by guidance, just step by step, as I was told, these diamond energy stations throughout the planet, and they're very connected. A lot of them to the sacred, powerful spots around the world. And there was there was an etheric grid for many, many years already before I was told in 2003 to bring it onto the internet. So it was like, you know, the internet has its infrastructure, and I already had with building with the divine guidance, the energy structure. Now what we did is just bring it through into the physical world so people can access it, you know, all
Mm-hmm.
over the world. And there are 160 countries now tapping in.
Wow. And it seems like you're really, I mean, a forerunner, or how, is that how you say it in English? A front runner,
Yeah.
because I really see the connection between the web and spirituality. And you're using actually the internet, not just as a tool, not just as a technology, but as a grid to match the spiritual grid. I mean, there's a lot to be said about that, and we could do just I believe a whole video about this. But I'm very curious on that type of grid. How did you match it? I mean, how did you set it up? Because clearly, clearly, my experience of it 20 days ago, 22 days ago, when I first did it, I felt the sensation. But most of all, since then, I've been calm. I've been not my mind has not run the show. Yes, I had some healing and emotional things that came up, but I've been very consistently not having the events run my life, not having the my mind run my life, not having all those scarcity jump. I remember the next day after trying it, I saw my bank account, and instead of it was kind of a bad news, and instead of being wow, yeah, yeah, I'm like, no, something will happen that will correct that. And I'm like, is this me talking? I mean, where is this coming from? Before I would have directly rushed. So I could say, maybe it was a coincidence. I don't know. Is there something about what you have created that could have provoked that? I mean, how does this technology actually work, Jacqueline?
Oh yes, it's absolutely you got connected, Lilu, to that greater part of who you are. It is the personality self that gets excited and upset when things happen in the physical world. But we don't realize there's 90 or 95% more of us that's able to be tapped into to support us on this physical plane that is infinite in its intelligence and that is infinite in its ability to create. So this is what you're getting connected to with diamond alignment. And yes, it does happen the first time. The first time you do the alignment, what it does, there's only electrons passing through the internet anyway, and what we're bringing, which is energy. Everything is energy, and so what we're doing is bringing the divine energy, the high frequency of divine energy, it's marrying it with the energy that's moving through the internet already. So the internet becomes the vehicle, the energy moving through the internet becomes the vehicle through which this divine energy can really reach people in a very specific way. It's very different than just praying
Is
or
it the
just bringing in
sound?
white
Because
light.
there's quite a powerful sound. Not overwhelming, but there's quite a powerful magical sound to this. Is that the sound creating it? Is that the graphic? Because you do this through a flash animation, but you don't really have to watch it. I mean, this is extraordinary. How does this work?
Well, the sound, and it's not, people ask me if it's binaural or binaural or whatever these things are. It's not designed by anything scientific. That sound was done by my daughter, who has lived in the diamond since she was 16 years old. She's now 33 years old. And what happened is that I transmitted to her. You see, this was all transmitted to me. And my job has been to then now transmit it to others. So my daughter allowed me to transmit to her the frequency that I'm carrying now, that is this help that I called for long ago. And then she allowed the energy to move through her, already having a great vehicle herself because she has so many years herself in the diamond, living in the diamond energy, that the sound has come through as the frequency that it really is. It's not some scientifically produced anything.
Exactly,
So the
exactly. It's from up
sound.
there. So, why is it called diamond? Because I mean, actually, when you were during your experience, you release, you're allowing, you're receiving, and then you're in this I am. And
Yes.
in diamond there is the I am. So I was wondering if there is a correlation. Why is it called diamond? Was that given to you, or is it because there is the I am? Can you talk about those two things? Are they
Yes.
related?
They are related, but again, it wasn't because my mind thought they should be related. I didn't even realize until 2003 that the energy structure had actually become an octahedron, which is a diamond. It's two pyramids. It started out as pyramids. So there are two four-sided pyramids that are joined together, and lo and behold, it turns out to be a diamond. Well, the whole time I've always known what we're connecting with, and what I was called to connect with is the I am presence that we truly are. And it's just funny to me that it did turn out I am as in diamond, but I didn't know it. But it really is diamond consciousness that we're tapping into. We are indestructible, brilliant sparks of the divine. And that's a diamond. And so
But
it's tapping into that.
yeah, it's amazing what you said. The pyramids, for example. And again, I get that you're receiving, so you're interpreting, but it's beyond actually, some of it is beyond from what I'm hearing, what actually you can comprehend or what we can comprehend. But there is this idea of the pyramids, and it's quite very significant to the divine people building the pyramids, and how when you put, for example, a vegetable under a pyramid, it grows faster. Like there's apparently within this shape, things happen faster and in a much faster rate. So I'm wondering, and that's where I'm coming with my intellectual mind, but I'm wondering actually why those two pyramids are uh, getting together. Why not just the pyramid?
Yes, that's such a great question because for years, you see, I'm sure that I awakened to this, Lilu, in the Great Pyramid. I was in the Great Pyramid in November of 1984. And when I look back, I realize, I was probably getting awakened way back then. It took about another year or a year and a few months for me to actually have the kind of getting struck with lightning kind of energetically where I dropped to the floor. But that's when I really got the awakening, the call. It's time now. You move forward now. But it was in the Great Pyramid. So it was, and then when I started getting the downloads in 1992 from this loving presence that I talked about, this went on for many years. And it was, at first, it was just a magenta pyramid. And it wasn't until 1997 when I was called to bring it now to groups, and I did do that in my home for a few groups. It was way too powerful. The energy was way too powerful for the people. They had an extraordinary experience while we were in the diamond. I would take them into the diamond energetically, but afterwards it was hard for them and hard on me because it clears everything that is not the truth of who you are, and a lot of that psychic, anger, rage, jealousy, all these things that came out, where they just came out strongly. And I was so open at that, back then I didn't know better, and I would just take all of that in. So what happened is that my guidance said, we're sorry that it was so hard on you, but they told me, go to Jamaica, sit for 6 weeks. We're going to give you the next piece of the technology. You needed to understand how powerful it is, the energy you're dealing with.
Jamaica, that's the why Jamaica.
Yes, I had to go to Jamaica. And when I went to
Your guides
Jamaica,
are pretty
I would
cool.
do this.
I'm gonna borrow them. I'm gonna tap into your guides. They send you to Jamaica. They're pretty cool. They send me to France. They're not bad either.
I have great guidance, but we all do. When we tap into it, they're hilarious, they're fun, and they're so powerful. And
How
yes,
do you
they know.
communicate with them? I'm sorry to do a little, but how do you? Is it just you hear them? I mean, how do you see them? Do you feel them? How are they fun? They tell you fun things. How is that?
Oh, they just for me, it's I'm not psychic, so I don't hear with my ears and I don't see things necessarily. It's an interesting thing. It's when I get quiet. I get quiet and I am receptive, and then it's a phenomenon that I can only call knowing. I just know, and I don't know why I know, but I feel really joyous, and I don't know. There's no reason for the joy. It's just like, and this is what diamond alignment does: is it awakens and stimulates the joy in your cells. It's not joy like that's connected to an external event. It's joy that's just like a bubbling champagne kind of feeling inside of you, and you don't know why. You just like the feeling, and that's why the 6-minute experience is so awesome, because people can tap right into that. And first of all, be able to relax, which a lot of people can't do. I know I was one of them. I didn't know how to relax. You can tell me to relax all day long, but I didn't know how to do it. And I didn't meditate back then. And even when I did learn how to meditate, it wasn't the same thing. When you drop into this experience, it's like you don't have to do the work. You are just brought into this amazing state of relaxation, which makes you open and then allows you to receive that amazing guidance that's really there all the time. We just have to give it our attention and say, yes, we're willing to receive it. So when anybody clicks on that 6-minute experience, they're saying, I'm ready and I'm open to receive. And the guidance goes, all right.
Can we do it as many times as we want? I mean, as you said, is there limits to this, or is there? Is there a prescription?
I'm sorry, Lulu, I missed the connection. I missed your first part of what you said.
Is there a prescription? Is there some limits to this? Can you listen to it as often as you want, or because I know you have those for example, for a month you can listen to it as much as you want. So is that, can I listen to it 3 4 times a day? Because right now I'm listening morning and evening before going to bed.
Excellent. That's really what I recommend, especially in the beginning. And when you're going through something really, really hard, I mean, I have done it as much as 4 and 5 times a day when I'm in a really, really challenging situation because I just don't like anything other than feeling good. So when I feel off or I don't feel good or something's really knocked me off, in life, I will go there and get back into alignment because when you know how it feels to be in alignment, when you have clarity, when you do have a relaxed body, when your mind is calm and you have that sense of inner peace and excitement and that guidance that's flowing through you, you just don't want to have it any other way. So the easy thing is come right back on. We all fall off in life. We all fall out of alignment. This is a very challenging and exciting world. My desire has been to help people and myself too have a way to come back and come back fast and come back easily. And that's what it's about.
And it was strange to me too, because the first time I tried it, I said, "This thing is not 6 minutes, Jacqueline. What are you telling me? This was 30 seconds." And then you're like, actually, look at your watch, and you'll see that it's exactly 6 minutes from the beginning until the end. And you told me, well, sometimes it takes, sometimes it feels like 30 seconds, sometimes it feels like an hour, but because you actually in a different state during this experience, or what is it?
You are outside of time and space. You are in another dimension. But you're still very present here, so it's not scary like, oh my God, I'm going
No,
out,
no, but
to
sometimes I feel it, but I'm like, I can, not, it's not that you doze off, but you feel, I mean, you are like, woo, but you're totally not in control, but you're not, yeah, it's not scary or anything like that, clearly.
you're 100% present. In fact, you're
Exactly.
more present than you probably ever are normally in life. At least that's true for me
Yeah, that's how it
because
feels.
you are fully, fully, fully there. And it's actually the safest place. People tell me they feel safer in this experience than any time practically in their life. And it's because you are dropped into that deep, deep connection of the grandness, the bigness of who you really are, and the source energy that's the source of everything that exists. You can't get safer than that.
So is it actually rewiring some things inside our head? I mean, how is it like you try that for 30 days and then you don't use it anymore? Is there actually a permanent change you think that have already happened? Is it rewiring? Is that a permanent effect, or is it just when you do it and if you don't do it anymore then it's not there anymore?
Well, I wouldn't call it rewiring, Lilu, but I would. What does happen is that it starts clearing everything that we've picked up along our physical trail that is conditioning or anything that's limiting us. So, and it's happening cellularly. It's the vibration, the high frequency is coming in, and it transforms and transmutes the lower frequency energies. And so you can have healings occur with diamond alignment without having to process anything. And it will, so let's just say if receiving has been difficult for you in your life because of all your circumstances from your past and your childhood, and it wasn't safe to open and receive, and there are a lot of reasons why people can't receive or don't feel worthy, or a lot of things. The diamond energy will start to really release that. I call it coagulated energy because I just see that we are all energy anyway. So what's
Mm-hmm.
happening is when the energy gets stuck in a pattern, it's like energy that isn't flowing.
Mm-hmm.
And so we don't have that clarity and the flow and the connection. And so it's like blocked up a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
What happens with the diamond is that it begins to unblock that energy and release it so that you can have flow and connection again and have that good feeling inside. When you're doing it, yes, it does go. When you're operating at the cellular level like that, it will then unravel a lot of things. You'll have emotional healings and mental healings and physical healings that arise out of that energetic blockage being opened up.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when you say, is it lasting? Yes, it is lasting. That which has been cleared is lasting. It's released and it's really healed. But, there are many, many, many layers for all of us. And the more years we've been on the planet, the more layering there is. And so staying with the energy, staying with the technology really keeps you, getting the strongest clearing and keeping that flow. It's all about flow of energy. So to keep your flow really going strong and get it stronger and stronger all the time. And I'm talking about the flow of your galactic signature, your high frequency, your truth, your soul moving through this human body. This is what I'm after, to help people to really live in that flow and to live in that kind of clarity, which is that diamond clarity and brilliance, so that you can fulfill what you came here to fulfill, your purpose, and really have the joy that I believe we're all here to have.
Hmm. There's no coincidence that your last name is actually Joy. Jacqueline
Yeah.
Joy. It's a pleasure meeting you. I am so thrilled to have the privilege to talk about this with you here and to share it with the world. Thank you. Thank you so much, Jacqueline.
Thank you, Lilu.
And
And
I
I'm
call
a,
you, you guys have to know that now Jacqueline is, I call her Joy because she's pure joy. And actually quite a lot of people call you this way now.
yeah, it's really funny. They have people have all switched practically to calling me Joy without me telling them to. So this is what I talk about. The vibration gets really strong, so the people really feel it too. So
Thank
I
you.
welcome you all to the Diamond Energy Field. Thank you so much, Lilu, for helping me really reach people out.
Thank you.